9 finishes of 30th place or worse. 5 wrecks in 7 races. These are not just numbers, they are the reality facing Connor Zilisch, a driver once dubbed a generational talent. And now, Joey Logano has revealed the one problem standing in his way. Connor Zilisch is only 19 years old, and he was supposed to be the next big thing in NASCAR. He drives the number 88 Chevrolet Camaro for Trackhouse Racing, and before he ever set foot in the Cup Series, he was flat-out dominant in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Depending on which report is used, he won somewhere between 10 and 13 races in that series last season. He came agonizingly close to winning the full championship, losing a tight battle to Jesse Love. His most recent win at that level came in May at Watkins Glen International. Before that, he had already built one of the most impressive resumes in modern stock car racing, moving through karting, sports cars, late models, and the ARCA Menard series with remarkable speed. He signed with Trackhouse Racing as a developmental driver in January 2024, and by August 2025, the organization had confirmed he would take over the number 88 car full-time in the Cup Series for the 2026 season. That announcement came after Trackhouse Racing parted ways with Daniel Suarez, who had spent 5 seasons driving for the team. So, when Connor Zilisch finally moved up to the Cup Series this year, expectations were enormous. Fans and analysts alike believed big results would come almost immediately. The Cup Series, however, has told a completely different story. To understand exactly how difficult this season has been, consider what happened this past weekend at Chicagoland Speedway. NASCAR returned to the track on Sunday, July 5th for the Eero 400, and Connor Zilisch started the race in 21st place, a position generally considered safe in the middle of the pack. That safety disappeared within seconds. As the field swept through the opening turns onto the backstretch, chaos broke out. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was squeezed up near the outside wall. Eric Jones then made contact in that same area, sending Ryan Preece spinning directly into Connor Zilisch. It was a chain reaction, and Zilisch was simply caught in the middle of it with nowhere to escape. NASCAR summarized the incident by stating there was nowhere to go for Connor Zilisch. His car was collected, spun around, slid across the track, and slammed hard into the inside wall. The front end of the car was destroyed. Over the radio, his frustration was clear. He said, "We're destroyed. I am sorry, guys. Oh my. Can't get anything to go for me." That final line captured exactly where his mindset was in that moment. His race ended immediately, and he finished in last place once again, a result that mirrored several other difficult afternoons this season. This was not an isolated incident. It has been a repeating pattern throughout the season. In his last 7 races, the number 88 car has been involved in a wreck 5 separate times. He has finished 30th place or worse on 9 occasions this season alone. He crashed in 3 consecutive races at Charlotte, Nashville, and Michigan. After that stretch, he ran 23rd place at Pocono, only to crash again and finish 37th at the race near San Diego. Heading into Chicagoland, his average finish for the season stood at 27th place, with 6 races already ending early due to mechanical or crash-related issues, commonly referred to as DNFs. As it stands, Connor Zilisch sits 34th in the championship standings, a position worse than every full-time driver in the series except one. There was, however, one bright spot just 1 week earlier. At Sonoma Raceway, Zilisch finally broke through and earned his first top 10 finish of the season, crossing the line in 7th place. Afterward, he expressed real relief, saying, "It felt good to have a clean run. We needed a day like this to go into next week with something to build on." That sense of momentum lasted exactly 1 week before disappearing entirely on the opening lap at Chicagoland. It is worth noting that before this Cup Series stretch, Zilisch had experienced an entirely different reality in lower series competition, where he was accustomed to fighting for wins nearly every single weekend, rather than fighting simply to survive an opening lap. The contrast between his dominant record in the O'Reilly Series and his current position near the bottom of the Cup Series standings has become one of the most discussed storylines of the season. This is where Joey Logano entered the conversation. Logano is a three-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, but he was not always in that position. Early in his own career, he experienced the exact same kind of hype and pressure that Connor Zilisch is experiencing now. Speaking on a recent podcast, Logano explained that he relates to Zilisch more than almost anyone else in the garage, even more than he relates to another young driver, Carson Hocevar. He said, "Connor was dubbed that guy, and he was that in the O'Reilly Series just like I was when I started over there. Won my third race." He then described the trap that many young, hyped-up drivers fall into once they reach the Cup Series. He explained, "This whole hype, living up to the hype, get to the Cup level, uh-oh." And that's exactly what happened to me the first 2 years. This wasn't what I was expecting. These guys are really, really good. And that's fact. Logano went further, explaining exactly why this transition is so difficult. He stated that the jump from the O'Reilly Series to the Cup Series is the largest jump in all of motorsports. He said, "The jump from the O'Reilly Series to the Cup Series is the largest jump in motorsports, period. Hands down, there's not a larger jump from a talent level. Everybody in the Cup Series can go to the O'Reilly Series and win today. Every single one of them." To illustrate this point, Logano shared a personal story from early in his own Cup Series career. He admitted that he once looked at slower cars running toward the back of the field and assumed they were not particularly skilled. That assumption changed quickly once he actually raced against them. He explained, "I thought those guys that run in the back every week, I'm like, they suck. I can beat them. And then I'm watching them just laying 2 black marks off the corner. I'm like, holy cow, these guys are really good. And I couldn't keep up." This admission from a 3-time champion highlights just how deep the talent pool truly is at the sport's highest level, and why even a dominant lower series record does not guarantee immediate Cup Series success. According to Logano, the real difference between struggling and succeeding at the Cup Series level has little to do with raw talent, since Connor Zilisch already possesses that. Instead, it comes down to small details that only develop over years of experience, such as understanding what a team needs, communicating effectively with a crew, and knowing how to adjust a race car throughout the course of a long event. He explained, "The drivers knowing what they need in their team, in their car, and how to just manipulate so much stuff, that's what makes them great, and it takes years to do it. Connor will do it." He also referred to Zilisch directly as a diamond in the rough, adding that he simply needs enough time in the sport to develop fully. What makes Logano's perspective especially credible is his own career history. He was once considered a can't-miss prospect for Joe Gibbs Racing, yet he lost that ride entirely after the 2012 season. He found himself without a job in the sport at a pivotal moment in his career, a moment that could have ended his path in professional racing altogether. Roger Penske then gave him a second opportunity, a decision that eventually led to 3 Cup Series championships. Logano was candid about how close that opportunity came to never happening at all. He said, "I almost lost my chance. I was this close to not making it. Forget 3 championships, not making it. Not driving race cars. And we need to give these younger guys a chance to keep up and catch up." His overall message regarding Connor Zilisch was simple and direct. Give him time, because the talent is clearly present, and the results will eventually follow with enough experience. Encouragingly for Zilisch, Trackhouse Racing appears to share that same belief. His contract with the organization is reportedly secured through 2027, meaning his position with the team is not currently in question despite the difficult results. It is also worth noting that this struggle extends beyond just one driver. The entire Trackhouse Racing organization has faced a difficult season overall. Ross Chastain, who advanced to the Championship 4 in the 2023 playoffs, currently sits around 22nd in the standings. Shane Van Gisbergen is currently 14th, a position largely supported by his strength on road courses, where he has already secured 2 wins this season. This context makes it clear that the issues facing Connor Zilisch are not isolated to him individually, but reflect a broader slump across the entire team this year, one that extends across all three of the organization's Cup Series entries. There is one additional layer to this story, and it connects directly back to Logano himself. During that same podcast appearance, he addressed something that clearly still affects him personally, which is the difference in how fans treat him compared to Carson Hocevar. Logano has long been viewed as something of a villain within the NASCAR community, and that reputation has not faded even now. He said, "To this day, I still get booed like you wouldn't believe for the things I did when I was 19 years old." He then pointed directly to Carson Hocevar, saying, "This kid comes in and wrecks way more people than I ever did, and people love him." Despite this contrast, Logano was not resentful toward Hocevar. In fact, he offered praise, stating, "I think Carson's great for the sport. He brings a ton of new fans. The way he speaks, he's just younger." This raises an important question regarding Connor Zilisch's own situation. As he continues to struggle and crash throughout his rookie season, will fans extend him patience, or will they eventually turn against him the same way they once turned against Joey Logano earlier in his career? For now, Connor Zilisch will get another opportunity to change the narrative this coming Sunday, July 12, at Atlanta. Given the season he has endured so far, filled with wrecks, disappointment, and only brief moments of relief, a clean and uneventful race would mean a great deal heading into the second half of the year for both Connor Zilisch and Trackhouse Racing, as the team looks to turn its collective struggles into momentum before the postseason arrives.